Have you ever wondered what the world would be like if history had taken a different turn? A single moment, a split second, can change the course of everything. Let's travel back to November 22nd, 1963. A motorcade is making its way through Dallas, Texas. The crowds are cheering, the sun is shining, but in this timeline, the unthinkable doesn't happen. The shot misses. President John F. Kennedy survives. This single event doesn't just save a man, it reshapes the destiny of a nation, and perhaps humanity itself. The America of the 1960s was a powder keg of social change, Cold War tension, and a burgeoning conflict in a distant land called Vietnam. With his life unexpectedly spared, a re-energized Kennedy, having stared death in the face, returns to Washington with a renewed sense of purpose. His brush with mortality gives him immense political capital. The nation rallies behind him. He uses this momentum not to escalate the conflict in Southeast Asia, but to do the exact opposite. He sees the Quagmire forming in Vietnam and, having learned from the Bay of Pigs, is deeply skeptical of military advice promising a quick victory. He begins a phased withdrawal of American advisors, resisting the immense pressure from the military-industrial complex to commit ground troops. Instead of a decade of war, America pivots. The nation's focus shifts from the jungles of Vietnam to the frontiers of science and society. Kennedy doubles down on his new frontier agenda. The Civil Rights Act, which in our timeline was passed in 1964, is signed with even greater conviction, with JFK personally championing its cause through the South. The war on poverty becomes a genuine national effort, not a program overshadowed by military spending. But Kennedy's greatest passion, the one that truly defined his vision, was space. He famously declared, "We choose to go to the moon." But in this new timeline, with the moon landing achieved in 1969 as planned, he doesn't stop there. He sees the Apollo program not as the finish line, but as the starting block for humanity's journey into the cosmos. With no Vietnam War draining trillions of dollars and tens of thousands of lives, NASA's budget isn't slashed after Apollo. Instead, it's vastly increased. Kennedy, now serving his second term and acting as an influential elder statesman, champions a new, audacious goal. In a speech that echoes his lunar challenge, he sets the nation's sights on the next logical step: a crewed mission to Mars. The 1970s become a golden age of space exploration. The technological marvels developed for Apollo are refined and expanded. A permanent space station, a true city in the sky, is established in Earth's orbit by the mid-70s, serving as a construction and launch platform for interplanetary missions. The space shuttle program is accelerated, becoming the workhorse that ferries astronauts and materials to and from this orbital base. Imagine the headlines. Instead of news from Saigon, we see reports from the Gateway Station. The top minds of a generation, who in our timeline might have been designing weapons, are instead engineering life support systems for long-duration spaceflight and designing vehicles capable of landing on the Red Planet. The societal impact is profound. A nation united by a grand, peaceful endeavor is a nation with less room for division. The optimism of the early 60s never truly dies. It evolves. The space program fuels a boom in education, with millions of students inspired to pursue careers in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Silicon Valley's birth is supercharged, not just by military contracts, but by the computational needs of charting a course to another world. By the early 1980s, the world holds its breath. The culmination of 2 decades of relentless effort is at hand. The Mars exploration vehicle, the Aries 1, launches from Earth orbit. Its crew, a diverse team of scientists and pilots, represents the very best of humanity. Their journey across the vast emptiness of space is a global event, watched by billions on television. And then, it happens. A grainy, black-and-white image is transmitted across 35 million miles of space. A boot touches the reddish dust of the Martian surface. The first words spoken are not just for one nation, but for all mankind, a testament to what we can achieve when we aim for the stars instead of at each other. Back on Earth, things aren't perfect. The Cold War still simmers, though the space race has transformed from a competition of ideologies into a more collaborative scientific pursuit. Social issues still exist, but they are debated in a society that has a shared sense of pride and accomplishment. The energy crisis of the 70s is mitigated by innovations spurred by the space program, advanced solar panels, fuel cells, and nuclear technologies developed for Martian habitats find applications on Earth. Without the deep national trauma of Vietnam, the cynicism and distrust in government that defined a generation never fully takes hold. American society is more optimistic, more forward-looking. The culture reflects this. Music, film, and art are infused with a sense of cosmic wonder and boundless possibility. Of course, this is just one possible timeline, a glimpse into a world that might have been. But it poses a powerful question. What if we directed our resources, our ingenuity, and our collective will towards creation instead of conflict? The survival of one man in Dallas in 1963 could have meant that instead of memorials for a lost war, we would have museums celebrating our first steps on another planet. It reminds us that the future is never set, and the choices we make today, big and small, truly do shape the worlds of tomorrow. Thanks for joining us on this journey through an alternate past. What do you think would have happened? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoy exploring the fascinating what-ifs of history, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more. We'll see you in the next timeline.